Hey guys, how you doing? We're gonna do a chum salmon fly. So this one is going to be pink and orange on a tube. And the reason I like these colors is because they work well in water that might have a little bit of color to it. And I'm kind of expecting there to be like heavy rains and then no rain, heavy rains then no rain. So I want to be able to fish, and I want my people to be able to fish when that water is colored up. And orange is a great color. If you were to go on the internet and look up what colors do what under, really not ideal conditions, orange is a good one. So we'll do orange, pink, and a little bit of white. And just really try to get a lot of contrast of those colors in this fly. So yeah, let's get started. Pink vise 6/0 on a 40/40 split tube. And I've cut this one down probably a 1/4 inch off of either side. You don't need to have huge flies for chum salmon. They're really aggressive fish, and they eat a lot of different stuff, and they pull really hard. This is absolutely one of my favorite fish on a 7 weight in Alaska, and there you just catch tons of them. Swing in, stripping flies. You can really do a lot with that fish, and they're great for learning. Like you can make so many mistakes on these fish, and if you caught one, there's probably another one in that pool. So depending on is incoming tide, was there a fresh rain? But if you can get chrome or just slightly turning chum in a system, you're gonna have a really good time. So let's go back a little bit. That's a little much. Probably right there. Lucy, calm down. Oh, I got the newest member of the family here with me today. This is Lucy. We adopted her from Puerto Rico, and they flew her in. Puerto Rico Dog Fund. It's really easy. I got back from Hell's Canyon, took a shower, drove to PDX at like 10:30 at night. A really nice lady and I think her husband showed up and had puppies ready to go. And there's quite a few groups of people there grabbing puppies and brought her home. Gus really likes her. They're buds. So if you hear some squealing, I'm on puppy duty today. Okay, so first thing first, we are going to tie in a shoulder. So I've got some of those already prepped. If you've watched the Chinook video, if you've seen, gosh, there's so many Intruder videos on the internet. Just look at one of those if you want to know exactly how to do the how to build your own dubbing brush. But I'm gonna save you guys the time on that. No chew. So in this dubbing loop, we've got a orange, barred orange, and black predator wrap, and then this is eat a peach dubbing. So just want a bunch of contrast in this fly, and we'll just pick this out a little bit. I also really like bunny strips. I mean, I just did a bunny strip video, and Rob did a bunny strip video, so I'm not gonna do another one today. Well, maybe, I don't know. But I wanted to do like a more traditional 2-stage intruder for you guys. These are just flies that I have kind of fished a lot of in the last, I don't know, 8 years. I just tend to tie these up a lot. So do one of these guys. This is a fairly large station, as far as length goes. That's good. So out the back, I kind of like to do flamers. So I'll just take a few of these, and it's just kind of like a rear station wing. You know, you can do it a lot of different ways, but this is just something that I like. So, you know, a little longer. Those are actually kind of short. Let's get some long ones. Tie those in. I like to leave quite a bit to tie in here because anadromous fish fight really hard. They got teeth, and I want my fly to try to last at least, you know, 5 or 6 fish before it's kind of one of those well-worn flies. Which still catch fish, but you know, if you just step into a run for the first time that day, or you just got started and this pattern's like your favorite, it's been working really well for you, picking one that's really jacked up just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. You always want like a fresh fly, so you know, let's try to keep them looking nice. Right. Let's see here. Got some barred white ostrich that I'll do a little wing. Hey, no chew. Nice little wing there. Some action. I put a little bit of white in just about every fly I tie for an anadromous fish. I think it's just one of those habits. I don't think that there's maybe too much science behind it, but it definitely is something that I like to do. And then I like to throw in some type of natural color. Again, it's just one of those things that I do, you know, something with a little natural sheen to it. So I'm looking through this grizzly hackle here, and there are a few in here that have kind of natural fluorescence to it. There's a few in here that have just this kind of almost like a peacock herl kind of vibe to it. So I'll pick one of these right here. And this is just like a collar, you know, it's really maybe a little bit, it'll help kind of push water up and around this ostrich a little bit in some slower water. But again, it's more of just because I enjoy the way it looks. Like we could just tie a 3-inch piece of cerise bunny strip on a jigged hook, you know, that's got like an 1/8 ounce of weight on it, and call it a day, and you're gonna catch chum salmon. But that's not fun. So palmer these back, and these parts of the fibers, they're the soft part. You know, it's that marabou like material. It's not the hackles per se. Like the big stiff hackles, and it's just a little something. Just a little something to blend that. And I think when you see it in person, you know, when you're tying this fly, that those little color variations are going to pop more to you than on a camera. But again, it's just a little something. Alright, so next up, this is Fatricrova Bronze Triple S like mylar or braid. Here's a package right here. Sleeping puppy, yes. So I'm going to butt this really tight up against that rear station. And we're going to come forward. Probably going to go to like, this is a good chance to measure. And take your time here. You don't have to just kind of whip it out real quick. I want these fibers to be like 2/3 of the way over the rear station. I don't want them to go crazy, like, you know, kind of engulf the rear station. I want them to move together but not be sticky. So I think that's about ideal right there. So that this little bump right here is really nice because I can seat kind of my whole dubbing brush that's going to have quite a few more materials in it. I can seat that up against it, and that's going to stiffen it up and help prop that shoulder. So that's one reason I like to tie on the back half of these tubes, is it does some work for me instead of tying the whole thing on the skinny part of the tube. Really hope I cut off enough of this. Nice. And I'm going to end it right on that drop off, because if I were to keep wrapping forward, it kind of creates like a little driveway, and it doesn't give me that drop off, that abrupt edge that I had before. So get that going. All right, time for station 2. So this one is going to be the same as before, you know, predator wrap and eat a peach, but I'm going to go with a lot more material in the form of this Senyo's chromatic dubbing brush in a burnt orange. It's kind of like a crawfish looking color too, so it works really well for trout streamers and bass. I don't know if you guys have done any bass trips with Todd this year, but boy's been whaling on them. So this is a great little synthetic fiber for that. And really, it's just helping prop up that shoulder, because it's a really thick material, especially if I fold it over like that. So, all right, got those in there. And then I'm gonna do these ostrich, because we're gonna go pretty heavy on the ostrich. I'm actually gonna do is 2 different sets of dubbing, so that way I don't have to grab it all with one hand, like all at once, because that can be a little hectic. So again, like a long fiber dubbing, just cut it. And now I have the top and the bottom. You know, that's not really sparse enough. All right. So you can model these yourself. If you want to. I'm not going to model them because I'm going to put more white in here as well. This is going to be a pretty full fly. It's going to have depth to it, but it's also going to have a lot of movement. A lot of movement. These are some good ones. Now I'm going to lay these white ones pretty much white right on top of the pink. And it's also going to have a little bit longer strands on the white. Because again, I don't want them all to stick on top of each other. And it just makes the fly dance a little more. Right. So I'm going to go pretty long with this dubbing loop here. That's about 6 inches, which is more than you need, but it just makes it easier to work with when you're wrapping. Alright. Those get a little twisted when you're making them, so figure out if you need to turn clockwise or counterclockwise and basically open it all the way to the end. Low tax wax. Alright. That's the first one. So that was our Senyo's Chromatic EP brush and Predator wrap. I'm going to tighten that up a little bit. And then our second one is going to be our Pink Ostrich, Barred White Ostrich, and Eat a Peach. And when you put that in, this is a really easy time to get everything the length that you want. So I'm just kind of looking down the line here and figuring out if that's what I want. And as always, we're just going to cut off, square up that ostrich. Ooh, those are a little close. There we go. Get rid of that. When you got a lot of extra in this dubbing loop, you're going to have to spin it a lot before you let go. And I'll tell you, fall is really here up on Mount Hood. I know it's supposed to warm up later in the week, but it's definitely feels really fall-like today. It's got that cool, dry air. The sun angle's getting lower. Swing flies all day right now. You got a river that's open. Pretty nice outside. So these chromatic brushes, you can see right here in the middle how it's shortened up so much. You gotta really pick that out. So I'm adding a little bit more pressure, and I'm not just going across, but I'm kind of diagonal and picking and pulling, so that way it actually comes out. All right. Why am I not using water? Because I don't feel like it. Right. Really tight here, folks. Really, really tight. Gotta get really tight. Especially on this part where there's no ostrich. Because we want that to be like a big shoulder, big, fluffy, stout shoulder. I can be pretty liberal with the amount of wraps I do here because I'm going to put a cone on the end of this. And cones hide a lot, which is great. Alright, toothbrush. Fluffing it up. This turned out pretty good. I like this. Front shoulder looks good. Rear shoulder's got its shape to it that I like. Just picking it out, getting all those fibers wiggling. It's kind of the point of all of them, right? Movement and profile. Let's see. That was a short nap. Alright. Flash. This is a fire red. I believe this is Solar Synthetics. Yeah, Solar Synthetics. I'm just going to go to the back of the fly. I really don't like it when there's like kinks in them. And it doesn't matter for the fish, but for me, I'm just looking for the ones that kind of look halfway decent. So those look good. So we'll tie that in. I'm not big on a lot of flash. I used to tie really flashy flies, which makes all your anadromous fish flies look like bass flies. So after hearing people be like, man, that's a great looking fly. Gonna catch a lot of bass. I've toned that down. So we got a little bit of flash in there. And then I'm gonna glue this actually instead of whip finishing it because got all that stuff going on up there. Solar res and a UV light. It's a little light, folks, so it takes a little bit longer. Okay. So I just push that on there. I really like to wedge it as far as I can. And then I will cut and burn it. That's really it. That is the fly. So, let's see if we can get a decent look at that. Got some white, got some pink, got some orange, a little bit of flash. Yeah, let's try to comb this back a little bit. That is a Chum salmon fly. Really looks a lot like steelhead fly. You could use it for both. You can definitely use this for coho. If you're going to swing for coho, not quite a lot of weight on there. So if you're running low and clear conditions and you don't need a bunch of depth in between your strips, this will work just fine. Especially since it's on the tube, it's going to drop this way more, so it's going to give this stuff more time to flare up in front of the fish, his face. Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate your time today, and look forward to seeing you out in the water.